All right, let's get right into it. If you're an English language teacher, you've seen this a million times. You've got one classroom, but a dozen different reasons why students are even there. Some are learning just to get by. Others are aiming for academic glory. So how on earth do you teach a single class when everyone's goals are worlds apart? To really get this, let's start with a real story. This is Regina. She's a newcomer to Canada. For her, English isn't just some subject in a book. Nope, it's the key to walking into a grocery store and figuring out how to eat on an incredibly tight budget. Her goal is immediate, it's tangible, and honestly, it's critical for her survival. Now, imagine in that very same class, you have someone like Zhao Fei. His entire future is riding on him passing a university entrance exam. So his head is all about academic writing, complex grammar, formal language, you get the picture. And right there, that's the heart of the problem, isn't it? Regina needs to talk about the price of potatoes. Zhao Fei needs to write a research paper. Same room, but totally different planets. So how do we fix this? Well, the answer is to completely flip our perspective. Instead of starting with a rigid one-size-fits-all curriculum, we start with the learner. And the key to unlocking all of this is a really powerful tool called a needs analysis. Okay, I know, it sounds a little academic, right? But trust me, the idea behind it is actually super simple and pretty revolutionary. Way back in 1999, a study basically defined it as this. It's the process of gathering info to figure out what our students actually need. It's that foundational first step before you even think about a lesson plan. And you know what? It's way easier to do than you might think. We can use really simple, practical methods. We could run focus groups, just to chat and hear about their shared problems. Or use questionnaires, even with pictures for beginners, to help them point to their goals. We can even brainstorm as a whole class to decide what's next, or make checklists of all the places they need English in the real world, like, say, on a job application. The bottom line, you've got to ask before you teach. So let's see what this looks like when the rubber meets the road. When we actually start with a needs analysis, we build this amazing bridge connecting all that high-level research and theory directly to practical, sometimes even life-changing classroom activities. Now, on the research side, people can dig deep into data to find all sorts of patterns. And what's really fascinating here is that this table shows how something as simple as where a student went to school can actually impact how well they plan their own learning. This kind of analysis is great for understanding the complex stuff that shapes our students. But the real magic happens when we turn this data into action. So what does that actually look like? It looks like this. It takes that high-level data and that understanding of a learner's background, like Regina's need to eat healthy on a budget, and it transforms it into a simple, effective worksheet. All of a sudden, the goal isn't some abstract concept like language acquisition. No, the goal is learning the English words for kidney beans and tomatoes. This is where theory gets real. So once we know what our students really need, we can build a classroom that truly responds to them. And let me tell you, this opens up a whole universe of creative, targeted, and genuinely engaging teaching methods that go way beyond any textbook. For instance, one study found that using speaking portfolios was incredibly powerful. Students would record themselves giving speeches. Then they could literally watch their own progress, give feedback to their classmates, and build real confidence by seeing their skills improve over time. It turns assessment into a tool for learning, not just a grade. Or what about this? Using authentic materials like movies. Another study shows how movies can teach those subtle real-world conversation skills that textbooks just don't. Things like how to start small talk or how to read body language. It's about teaching real communication, not just having them memorize vocabulary lists. And we can even push learning outside the four walls of the classroom. Researchers found that having students keep these personal voice diaries, just short daily recordings in English, dramatically boosted their fluency and self-expression. It becomes this low-pressure, safe space to practice, and that totally lowers the fear of making mistakes. So, what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean for you? It means it's time to build your own learner-centered toolkit. It's about shifting your focus from just delivering a curriculum to really facilitating your students' unique journeys. So here are the key things to remember. First, always start with why. Before you do anything, ask, what do my students really need to do with English? Second, use that info to connect theory to practice. Make stuff that actually matters to them. Third, embrace variety. Use all kinds of methods to hit those specific goals. And finally, and this one's huge, see your role as a facilitator.
You're a guide who responds to real-world needs, not just someone delivering information. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. For the students sitting in your classroom right now, what is the single most important skill they need for their lives the second they walk out your door? Start there, and I promise you'll transform the way you teach.